Today we're taking a look at these NCAAF matches, which are happening on Saturday, September 10, 2022. And giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 360 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting picks that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end. South Carolina versus Arkansas. The Razorbacks will like their chances to take down South Carolina, especially at home in this one. For the Gamecocks, there are still quite a few new faces that they are looking to integrate, and unless Rattler suddenly finds his 2020 form, the struggles to move the ball against Arkansas's defense will be evident. For the Razorbacks, they should be able to move the ball easily on the ground, and their ability to control the clock and stay out of reach of the Gamecocks should be enough to make things easy to move to 2-0. Additionally, South Carolina is 0-5-1 ATS in their last 6 games following an ATS win, while Arkansas is 7-0 ATS in their last 7 games in September. Our team pick is Arkansas, -8 points. Arkansas had no problem putting up 31 points on Cincinnati last week, and they should be able to put up more points on a weak Gamecock defense this week. Even though South Carolina's offense wasn't impressive, the Razorback defense is still not a great unit, and South Carolina should be able to score a couple touchdowns. Arkansas is one of the best rushing offenses in all of college football, and there's no reason to believe the Gamecocks' historically bad rush defense from last year will be significantly improved. Arkansas should be able to score around 40 points in this game. Our total pick is over 52.5 points. Wake Forest versus Vanderbilt. Wake Forest was one of the biggest stories in 2021, and considering how much this group is bringing back, there's no doubt that they can be an ACC contender again in 2022. Last weekend was a great opportunity to ease into the season, taking down VMI 44-10, though Vandy should prove to be a more difficult opponent, especially going on the road. The road was where this group struggled last season, losing 2 of their last 3 road games of the season. They also lost a neutral site game against Pittsburgh in the ACC Championship. Wake Forest will take to the road in this one, and while Vanderbilt sits at 2-0, the Demon Deacons will be a whole new test, and one that is likely to prove to be too much. It appears that Hartman is likely to make his return to the lineup at quarterback, and if that's the case, his experience and dual threat ability will be too much for Vandy to keep up with. Adding in the fact that the Commodores have their own issues on the offensive line and could be without their top running back, it could be a quick return to reality for this group. Our team pick is Wake Forest, -12.5 points. Vanderbilt's first 2 games aren't just indications of feasting on inferior opponents. This represents a major turning point in the program's climb out of a hole of offensive futility. Last year, the Commodores managed only 189 points total across 12 games. The offense ranked 118th in college football in total offense, 312 YPG, so to average 52.5 points through 2 games is promising. Mike Wright, Vandy's starting QB, has been phenomenal so far. Against Elon last Saturday, Wright set a program single-game record with 6 touchdowns. He displayed his tremendous dual-threat skills by throwing for 4 scores and running in 2 more. It remains to be seen how Wright will handle a top 25 program's defense, but it helps that RB Davis, formerly Raymond Davis, transferring over from Temple in the offseason, has been averaging over 6 yards per carry. There is going to be an abundance of offense in this game. Whether or not Vanderbilt can muster a win at home, they will move the ball against Wake Forest. A revamped offensive line will help them run the ball effectively against a Wake defense designed to defend the pass. In the first real test for both these teams, expect the offensive coordinators to dig deep into the playbooks. Especially with Hartman back, Wake Forest should have an expanded offense that tries to be more daring, knowing that their QB does not make many ill-advised throws. Our total pick is over 65.5 points. Alabama versus Texas. Bryce Young, who won the Heisman Trophy last season, completed 18 of 28 passes for 195 yards, with 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. He led the Crimson Tide with 5 carries for 100 yards and a score on the ground. Jalen Milroe was 8 of 10 for 76 yards with a touchdown and an interception, plus 10 rushing yards. Ty Simpson finished 1 of 2 for 10 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs was the leading ground gainer among running backs as he finished with 9 carries for 93 yards. Jamarian Miller, 7 carries, 32 yards, Jace McClellan, 5 carries, 23 yards, Roydell Williams, 3 carries, 15 yards, and Trey Sanders, 1 carry, 5 yards, all got a crack with the ball as well. In the passing game, Treshaun Holden, 70 yards, 2 TD, Kobe Prentice, 60 yards, and Jermaine Burton, 35 yards, 2 TD, each caught 5 passes to lead the way for the Crimson Tide. Will Reichard hit all 7 extra point attempts and 2 of 2 field goal attempts with a long of 45. Quinn Ewers, in his debut, hit 16 of 24 passes for 225 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Hudson Card connected on 4 of 5 throws for 24 yards in the contest. The run game was anchored by Bijan Robinson, who had 10 carries for 71 yards plus a score. Roshan Johnson, 5 carries, 34 yards, TD, and Jonathan Brooks, 6 carries, 32 yards, TD, were also effective in their work in the game. Jatavian Sanders hauled in a team-high 6 passes for 85 yards plus a score. Robinson, 3 receptions, 40 yards, TD, Jordan Whittington, 3 catches, 26 yards, and Xavier Worthy, 2 grabs, 24 yards, are going to be looked at more going forward as well. Bird Auburn hit all 7 extra point attempts and was 1 of 2 on field goal attempts, hitting from 41 and missing from 38. Both teams come in off one-sided victories in their season openers over overmatched opponents. There's not a lot of current history between these schools other than the Sarkisian leaving to take the job in Austin. Texas looks solid enough against All Monroe, but there's a big experience difference between Ewers and Young under center. The Longhorns won't be gifted a couple of easy scores on defense and special teams like they were in the win over the Warhawks. Alabama is an explosive team and we saw how dominant they can be on the defensive side of the ball. The Crimson Tide are battle-tested, which is something you can't say about Texas at this point. Alabama wins this one by multiple scores to improve to 2-0. Our team pick is Alabama Crimson Tide minus 19.5 points. Alabama has been a dominant football program under Nick Saban for a long time, and they will look to assert themselves in Austin early. Bryce Young is in his 2nd year now as the starter, and the Crimson Tide also returned 3 starters on their offensive line. Alabama is inexperienced at receiver, but Saban is never short on recruits, so there is still plenty of talent at the outside skill positions for the Tide. The Texas Longhorns have been an inconsistent program for many years, and Sark continues in year 2 of his rebuild. Texas is starting quarterback Quinn Ewers, and he didn't need to do much last week against Georgia State in Texas's blowout victory. Still, Ewers was not impressive, throwing for 224 yards and an interception. Texas returns 3 starters on their offensive line, and the Longhorns had a top recruiting class this year, but their quarterback play is uncertain right now. Alabama doesn't have the established receiving corporation that the Crimson Tide have had in previous years, even though they have plenty of talent on the outside. Still, Saban is bringing a team in with young tackles and inexperienced receivers. He will likely look to establish the running game and control clock. Under 65.5 points.